Hi friends, it's Mary from Mom Behind the Computer. Today I wanted to stop by and share a somewhat personal story, but I did get clearance from. Hi friends, it's Mary from Mom Behind the Computer. Today I wanted to stop by and share what is a kind of personal story to our family, but I did talk to my husband about it and he said he was completely okay with me sharing it with you all, and he was completely okay with me sharing kind of what's going on in our lives right now with you all. My, as I mentioned in a recent kind of what's going on with us video, my husband has had eosinophil. My husband, my husband has an autoimmune disorder, which actually has a couple of them. One being eosinophilic esophagitis, and one being eosinophilic asthma. And both of those mean that basically, I'm not going to get into the science of it, I'm not going to get into technical terms, but if you get into the basics of it, his body super overreacts to allergens in his system and illnesses in his system. So, back when we were first married, he had an impaction, which means that something got stuck in his esophagus, and it's not up here in his airway, so he can breathe, he can talk, all of that, but it's lower in his esophagus, and it basically does not allow anything to pass. So even his saliva, he cannot pass through his system when an impaction has happened. Impactions are super serious. Sometimes they will. These impactions happen because the esophagus gets super inflamed and narrows and constricts because of these allergens in his system, or an illness in his system. Typically, illnesses haven't affected his esophagus that much. I think that there are other factors at play. He does have reactions when he gets ill, but I think the eosinophilic esophagitis is related to allergens more than anything else. And there are some different theories online. If you are here because you have it and you get sucked down the rabbit hole, you'll know that there are many different theories on how to treat it, but a lot of the disease is really a mystery. Impactions are super serious things because while they do sometimes pass on their own and cause, you get relief from that, or sometimes a person can drink some water or a tiny piece of food that will push it down. Most often, in my experience, when I've seen him deal with it, that's not what happens. And actually, when we were very early on married, very early on in our marriage, he had an impaction from, I believe it was an Advil, stuck in his esophagus. And when it didn't pass after about 6 hours, I believe, we called a nurse line, and the nurse line did suggest that we go to the hospital. And when you go to the hospital, sometimes they'll give you some meds to try to relax your esophagus. Most of the time, those do not work, from his experience and from what I've heard from nurses and things like that. Sometimes they might. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, anything like that. I'm just sharing our personal experience. And so in that case, he actually, a doctor came in, a doctor came in and went down to push through that food with a scope, and he used too big of a scope for my husband's esophagus, and he had a perforation. Praise God, it was a very small perforation, and he was able to heal from that, but perforations are super serious things, and he was in the ICU for 7 days with that perforation and that experience, all from just a little itty bitty pill. So, we've had some other experiences along the way. I'm not going to go into the big story. But basically, in the past, he did have some dilations, and right now we are trying to figure out the best way to handle this, hopefully without dilations. If it does come to that, that is an option. But we would like to hopefully offer him some relief otherwise. In the past, since January, I believe, but especially in the past month, he has had some noticeable decreases in swallowing ability, and he has noticed more and more things getting stuck temporarily, and a couple of impactions that, praise God, he's been able to move on his own. And it's just really scary to be quite honest with you. We were even eating pasta together, like sauced pasta, and he got a piece of pasta stuck, and that was like, I knew there was a lot going on. I was taking it super seriously, but a pasta is not something large. It's not something hard. It's not something like meat. It's really scary, guys. It's really scary. So what we are doing is we did a lot of research just on our own, and he is doing an extreme elimination diet. So he sort of so he's not following one specific one, but he took many elements of the 6-food elimination diet that is typically suggested to cut out for people with eosinophilic esophagitis. He's also bringing in some aspects of the AIP, which is the autoimmune, I believe it's the autoimmune protocol, paleo for some people. I'm not sure which words fall in there, but the AIP diet, he's taking some aspects of that. He's also cutting out all nightshades because that is a known allergy. We're not sure if all nightshades are known allergies, but he has several nightshades that have caused him noticeable issues in the past. He's also cutting out onion and garlic and several spices just because he wants to do this once and really hopefully realize where his allergens lie. We're not sure we'll be able to do this. We've tried to go down the route of allergy tests with him before, but he does have extreme allergies, and when you have allergy tests, they want you to be off of your allergy medicine for 2 weeks, and after about 3 days, I honestly wasn't sure he was going to be able to. And after about 3 days, it got super serious. He was having severe trouble breathing because of his eosinophilic asthma. His body was just super reacting to those allergens of whatever kind that he's dealing with. And he had to go back on the meds just basically because we thought he was going to end up in the hospital otherwise. So we may go down that route in the future. I'm not sure what we're going to decide with that. That is a possibility in the future, but right now we're doing our best to try this elimination diet to hopefully see if there are some major triggers that is in his normal diet that would be able to be cut out and hopefully offer him some relief. We have been doing this diet. This is our 3rd week, and basically our plan has been that myself and my daughter we're eating as normal for breakfast and lunch, and he doesn't care if we eat normally for dinner, but typically what we try to do is provide as much solidarity as possible. And honestly, when we started looking at the diet, it's eating a lot of the ways that I eventually wanted us to eat. It's just a push to eat that way. So it's meat, pretty much all meat is on his diet. So we have, our protein, and then vegetables. We're eating a lot of vegetables, and that's great for us. And then we're also eating grains like rice and things like that. And so honestly, it's really delicious food, and it's really ways that we wanted to eat for a long time. It's just giving us that push to do so. So that is how we are eating alongside him. And honestly, I'm incorporating a lot of it throughout the rest of the day too, because meal prep has become a large part of this. So far, he's seen minimal results. So far, he has seen a few results, but it's kind of hard to know for sure. He's still having some issues and things like that. And, to be fair, this may not even be a food issue completely. There may be environmental allergens. We live in a region that has a lot of allergies, and it may be triggered a lot by that too. So we're kind of just shooting in the dark here, but the fact that it's shown him any relief at all is wonderful. And it's also wonderful that we're really finding some new ways to eat and exploring those new ways to eat and finding delicious new ways to eat. Which is really awesome. So I am explaining all this to you. One, if you stumbled upon this video because you have eosinophilic esophagitis or someone you love does, know that you are not alone. I know that when he got the diagnosis, I didn't want to look on the internet. I try to avoid looking up medical things on the internet any more than I have to. because you typically hear the worst of the worst on the internet, and understandably, you know, you're not going to go on the internet and be like, I'm having a great day, everything's swallowed wonderfully. But when I started looking into it, you know, I was able to find some great resources that I will link in the description box below, and I just want you to know that you're not alone. If you have a family member who has this, you are not alone, and please know that you're right. And please just know that yes, these things really do suck, and please just know that you're right. This is a really challenging thing to go through, and that is one of the reasons that I wanted to put these videos out there as we're going through this. If it can help someone get some idea of maybe a way to try, and if it can give someone some idea of something that possibly they could put together to eat, these are, or something like that, or just to know that there's someone out there dealing with this as well, and that they're not alone. I'm hoping that that will help with this. So I'm going to start. So as we are going through this process, I've been taking some videos and things of that, of our foods that we've been eating, basically because I wanted to show some real life meals of how we are bringing together different foods in meals and things like that. They're very simple. I mean, these are not chef dishes. These are not anything like that. But, you know, for me, just being able to see the way other people eat and other people's experiences has been super helpful for me. And so hopefully it will be for you as well. I'm also going to be sharing some of our favorite resources that we found. And again, this is not just for anyone going on an elimination diet. Like, these foods are delicious, and I am being legit with that. I was hesitant at first because to me, whenever you think of, like, I don't like being on a restrictive diet, and I'm not. I'm still eating what I want for breakfast and lunch and things like that. But actually being within these restrictions has really opened up my cooking and things like that. It's so funny. I've been telling people that I think you guys know that I'm a very challenged cook. And while I can cook dishes, I'm not a natural cook, so it doesn't come naturally to me. And often than not, as often as not, I have had to throw away dishes because they're not edible for different reasons, and it's a skill I've been working to grow. But my husband actually told me, he was like, after the first week, he was like, wow, you really knocked it out of the park with these meals. They are so delicious. Apparently you just needed restrictions on things. And it's true. These are some of the most delicious meals I've ever cooked, and they're super simple to make, so much more simple than I thought they would be. Turns out if you have an oven and some olive oil and some salt and pepper, you can make things really, really delicious. So I'm going to be sharing a little bit with that. I'm hoping to share a little bit of our meal prep and how we prep for the week, because honestly, I could not have the amount of food that he needs without some sort of meal prep, cooking ahead, cooking large volumes so we can eat it several times a week, things like that. So I've been trying to really nail down my meal prep routine. That has not happened yet, but I am getting better, and it's so good. And you know, even if our diet changes in the future, that is something I definitely want to keep going. I love having food that is delicious ready to go in our fridge. It's just figuring out the best system for us and our family, and that's going to happen. You know, I forget, I think, with cooking that it's just like anything else. The more you do it, the better it gets, things like that. So I'm going to be sharing some of that with you guys over the next few weeks. Again, if you are not dealing with this and you've made it this far in the video, just know that these are also really good ways to get ideas for meals. These are not anything, you know, we're not talking about crazy foods or anything like that, or too many fake foods or anything like that. Sometimes I feel like it might be that way or not many crazy foods, or like things filled with a lot of fillers or something like that. These are, while we do get some foods at a specialty market, that's not the primary place that we get our food. Those aren't the primary foods that we get. We're not getting a ton of processed foods at the moment. So I wanted to share a little bit about that experience. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you all are here because you found this video because someone you know or someone you love has eosinophilic esophagitis, I'd love to If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to hear more about our elimination diet, what we're eating these days, how it's prepped, or even just our journey with eosinophilic esophagitis, let me know in the comments below, and please be sure to hit subscribe so that you can catch those videos when they come in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a blessed day. Bye-bye.